What is cybersex? I don't know what... Is that like phone sex? I genuinely don't know how that would work. It's not like there's some sort of device you go into, like in some... what's that? Red Dwarf situation where it's like, you've worn out the penis attachments in like 2 weeks, Lister. It had a lifetime warranty, Lister. Red Dwarf.
What?
Just before we get started today, big thank you to today's sponsors, Squarespace and Surfshark. The 4 S's. And now today's video. Hello all, welcome to a brand new episode of Brain Blaze. I am Blaze Boy, and today we're looking at the most expensive virtual items ever sold. I'm pretty sure I've made this video before. This might have been when what I was doing was I was looking back at my other channels to see what really worked well in the past and be like, that works well. So let's make a Brain Blaze version of it.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
Obviously we're not using that original script because it's probably wildly out of date. Because virtual items just got really expensive, didn't they, with those like NFT shit. It's like, oh my god, are you paying millions of dollars for a photograph? It's not even real. It's just online. You right-click, save as. Shit. What happens here? Danny writes me a script. I will read it. I've never read it before. And then afterwards, Sam is going to sprinkle... Oh. Almost unplugged my mic. Sam's going to sprinkle in some of the finest vintage memes that you have ever seen. You're welcome! Let's go. To make a bit of a change, I thought it might be fun to just completely ignore the title of this video and launch straight into a look at some of the craziest prices ever paid for a dog. Oh no, Danny, this is what we call clickbait. People have clicked on this video expecting one thing, and then you provide them with something completely else, and then they click off, and the watch time goes to shit. And then, goodbye, I can see you leaving, I'm so sorry. And then the problem is, YouTube doesn't show this video to anyone, it gets like 4 views, and we're all fucked.
Well, we're fucked.
American media personality and dubious self-made billionaire, Kylie Jenner seemed quite happy to splash out a fortune on a pooch in 2015. I say dubious because there are arguments over how much of your fortune can really be classed as self-made when you're effectively born into a reality show featuring one of the world's most famous and uber-rich families. Yeah, I mean, nobody's really self-made because everyone starts from something. It's like, I'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty self-made, but it's like I also came from, you know, a good family who paid for a good education and gave me a stable upbringing. And I mean, yeah, it's all about like, so am I really self-made? I mean, I didn't like drag myself up from the streets, did I? But then again, I'd say like I'm self-made, I guess. I don't know. It's a bit of a stupid thing. It's a stupid thing anyway. Why are we talking about this? But if you made the vast majority of your money by yourself, as I imagine Ms. Jenner here did, because she made that cosmetics company, right? Because the family are rich, but they're not billionaires. Maybe they are. I don't know. Who cares? Look, I feel like she made the vast majority of money herself, so we can say she is self-made. If you didn't make the vast majority of money yourself, then you're not, are you? That seems fairly simple.
It's like a reward.
There are further arguments over whether Kylie might have forged tax documents purely to convince Forbes that she deserved a spot on the rich list. Uh-oh. And then the government be like, wait, you didn't say that. You owe us a lot more money, don't you now? But either way, she's like, no, it was I just used Photoshop. I'm so sorry. I don't have that much money. Please, no. But either way, it's likely that Kylie and her then rapper boyfriend's Tiger probably had enough money to scrape together to buy another cute puppy. In 2015, she shared new videos on Snapchat which appeared to depict the latest additions to the family, an adorable English bulldog called Rolly. One of the videos came with an unusual caption. It just read 50,000 USD, space, $50,000. Highly appropriate, of course. Whenever a friend tells me they've just had a baby, my first reaction is to always ask them how much they've spent on the accessories. Oh, congratulations on your child. How much was that trolley, pushchair? What do Americans call that? Stroller. Strollers are a f***ing rip-off. Oh my god. We have 2 strollers because we had 1 kid and then we had a second kid. I think you got to buy like a double stroller. Our first stroller, it was like equivalent of what, 600-700 quid. It's like about $1,000. And I'm like, what the f is going on with this? Why is this $1,000? And then I found out that this is actually a relatively inexpensive stroller. And I'm walking through the park like a peasant with my $1,000 stroller. And people are walking past, I'm like, and I know how much, I'm like, that stroller cost $2,000. And I'm just like, oh, I feel so poor. I don't care. And the next stroller I bought when we had 2 kids, I'm like, look, I'm not spending $1,000 on a stroller again because that's ridiculous. So I bought a second-hand one that's kind of a bit but it cost me $100 and it hasn't broken yet and it's got 2 kids in it. And now I'm like walking along and I'm like, look at my stroller. Oh, I don't care. I just, I could flex on all the stroller people if I really wanted to, but I don't. It's just weird. But people have strollers. They got like they're made of leather. They're like brushed chrome, and I'm like, this is insane.
Whoa, that's interesting, but I sure don't care.
Okay. Strangely, the videos were later deleted and we never heard from Rolly again. Kylie later claimed that he just belonged to a friend and was never her dog, despite the tone of the original video suggesting that Rolly was being welcomed into a new home. It's a bit weird, isn't it? And also you're like, yo, it's like, this is my friend's dog, $50,000. It's like, okay, well, it's your friend's, isn't it? Weird. So I reckon that Rolly either got run over on the driveway by a Rolls Royce, got evicted from the house after struggling with the toilet training in the diamond-encrusted kitchen, or got sent back when Kylie remembered that she wasn't quite as rich as Forbes was indicating. Entropia, she's rich enough to spend $50,000 on a dog, though, isn't she? But also, how do you spend dogs are $50,000? Just get a dog for free. Go to the shelter and be like, yo, how much is that dog? And they're like, no, we want you to take them for free. Please, take them. You're doing a good thing as well. And she'll be like, I need to flex on my gram. How about I take that dog and I'll write you a check for $50,000. And they'll be like, that's really generous of you. Thank you so much, Kylie. And then everyone has a happy ending. Right? Solving all of the world's problems. You're welcome.
Wow, that was embarrassing for you.
Contending for the most expensive... Oh, Danny, are we really doing a video about dogs? I really feel like we've misled people today. Normally we mislead people, but, because people click on this and they're like, oh, an interesting video about business. Hello!
Lies. Oh, lies!
A contender for the most expensive dog ever bought was a Tibetan Mastiff puppy, which was reportedly bought as a luxury pet in China in 2014 by a property developer for a pretty staggering $1.2 million. The rare breed of dog has evolved into one of the ultimate status symbols in China, and the property developer intended to get his new dog breeding and creating more priceless premium puppies to produce a pleasing profit on his primary procurement. The puppy was given the comically appropriate name of Big Splash. Oh, because he splashed the cash. Tick, 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 big brain.
It's almost frightening.
The investor may have been better off just getting a Tibetan Mastiff puppy imported from the UK. You can pick up the same dog here for less than $2,000. So I'll be... This YouTube shit. I'm into the Tibetan Mastiff business. Let's get it going!
Many months later.
Not really. Come back, fact boy.
So that was a fucking lie.
Obviously, if that was the case, someone would have done it already.
But you didn't.
Unless you're watching this video and you're like, well, I'm going to get into that, and then you become like a billionaire. Remember, fact boy. You're welcome. Under usual circumstances, you shouldn't really be paying anything more than a few grand for even the most wildly exotic breed, especially when you can pick up a dog for free at your local shelter. Thank you, Danny. You'll also find that it does more or less the same thing, unless it's been traumatic, it's had some horror. My thing about dogs from the shelter, I have no idea if this is true, I'm completely ignorant about dog things, is I would automatically hesitate to do it because I got small kids. And I don't want the dog to have some aggressive tendency or something. I have no idea if that's actually a thing, so excuse me if I'm speaking out of place. Is that actually a thing? Let me know in the comments below. Should I, because my wife wants a dog, I would like a dog because my wife wants a dog. we've bought a house and it's got a garden, so like finally we can have a dog because we live in an apartment right now and it's like it's already full. There's 2 kids, there's 2 adults. You can't put a dog in there as well. It's like, where does everything go? But we'll have a house, we'll have a dog. I feel like, you complete the family picture. Let me know in the comments. Maybe, I don't know how it works. You know what I'm not doing? Buying some expensive fancy-ass dog like this. But perhaps even the Chinese investor's purchase isn't quite as bananas as the guy who bought an Ethereal Flames pink war dog for $38,000. You might not be, we're getting into the digital stuff, aren't we? This feels like an NFT. You might not be overly familiar with the breed, and that's because it doesn't exist in the real world. The character featured very briefly in Valve Software multiplayer online battle game Dota 2, first launched in 2013, a game which helped take multiplayer battle arena genre into the mainstream. A player can spend real cash within the game on special items and tools, such as, say, a courier in the form of a dog. This 4-legged courier helpfully fetches all your latest purchases from the store and drops them right at your feet in the battle arena without you having to leave the front line. Oh my god, this is so pointless. I mean, I'm sure it's got a great use in the game and stuff, but who's spending real money on this crack?
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
I mean, people spend real money on crack. I'm not sure why I used that word there. I meant crap.
Oh, poop.
They initially came in completely random colors until Valve recognized a bug which sprang up from certain designs, so they eventually decided to limit the color palette. This meant that it was no longer possible to get your gaming paws on a super funky pink war dog, which also came packaged with a distinctive ethereal flame effect. Oh my god, so desirable.
Oh dear. Cringe.
Only 5 of these had ever been picked up in treasure chests during the throes of war, and they naturally became highly desirable, naturally highly desirable collector items which sold to other players so if you could bear to part with your faithful glowing hound. And when one of those 5 lucky players decided to sell his war dog on the subreddit auction in 2013, he managed to attract a winning bid of $38,000 from a mystery buyer, identified only as July 24th. If I was selling that, I'd be like, it's a scam, isn't it? It's a scam. No one's paying me $38,000. So was the buyer ultimately happy? Apparently he did. Holy shit. With the courier Pooch, which behaved in much the same way as all the other courier dogs, but looked a bit prettier. Well, we'll return to that thought at the very end of the video, as this story has an unexpected epilogue. Oh my god, I can't wait. But it's obviously well done selling the rest of the video, fact boy, good job. But it's obviously not the only example of overly excited gamers forking out a fortune for an item that seems only to exist within the fictional digital confines of a silly old game. Why bother saving up for a car or a deposit on a house when you can have far more fun snapping up the most desirable collection of pixels in a gaming environment? Yeah. Fact boy, you idiot, you bought a house? Why didn't you use that money to buy online items in a game? You could have the best online items, you moron. What is wrong with us? I mean, people are like, they're investments. And I'm like, bros. I just felt I had to do that to emphasize just how strongly I feel about the NFT thing being a bubble. Like, my god. Have you seen the shite that people are selling as NFTs? That, I like H3 podcast. They were talking about Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like an online business guru dude. He made some NFTs that are just like laughably bad. And they have been like trading hands for like millions of dollars. And I'm like, and we don't think that this is a bubble. Huh? Let's see how this video ages. I got a feeling about this one. A good feeling, by the way. A good feeling. I mean, a bad feeling for people who've bought NFTs, but a good feeling for this aging well. Although, I also thought my friend was mad when he was buying Bitcoin at $100. And I was like, bro, are you crazy? He'd bought Bitcoin before and then he was buying more. And I'm like, bro, it's like $100. That's crazy. Aren't you gonna cash out? And he's like, nah, I got a feeling about this. Yeah, he doesn't have to borrow money to buy a house. Shit. So was the buyer ultimately happy? Oh, I read that already. But it's obviously the only example of overexcited I read that already. Oh my god, we're really ahead of the game today. But are these so-called virtual goods always just a jaw-dropping illustration of frivolous spending from gamers who might just be getting a bit carried away? Or could some of these players be making shrewd investments into a metaverse future in which a plot of digital land is more valuable than your entire real-life town? Well, maybe it's a little bit of both. Of course there's value to digital things. Like, there are good NFTs and decent ones, and who's that chap who really blew things up? Bobel or Blabel or Beeble or something like this? Babel? Whatever. This dude who made this digital art, and it's incredible, and there's only one, and you can buy it, and you own the rights to this image. And I'm like, that's pretty sick. I like that.
How innovative. I like it.
But then Gary Vaynerchuk makes his NFTs, and it's like a drawing of a caterpillar that he did, and he's not very good at drawing. And you're like, what is this shit?
What the hell is even that?
You smoking the crack, Gary? What the fuck?
Exactly.
Actually, Gary's not smoking the crack. Gary knows what's up. He's probably there being like, $1 million. He's just like, look, here's a picture of my dick. $1 million. Cha-ching.
What?
And then Gary buys another plane, you know? Now, just before we continue with today's video, let me tell you about today's fantastic sponsor, Squarespace. What is Squarespace? Well, look, it's the new year, isn't it? Maybe you've got resolutions. Maybe you're like, I should do something more with my life. I should make a website or a blog or a podcast or some sort of online store and share my opinion and products with people. Why not, eh? And when you want to do something online, well, Squarespace is the absolutely best place to do it. Look, you've got a couple of options. Number one, choose a beautiful template. That's what I would do because I have zero skills when it comes to designing anything. So pick a template, customize the text, customize the images, boom, you're good to go. It's very easy. Or if you're more design inclined, well, Squarespace has tons of customization options, so it's very easy to make it look exactly how you want it to look. And look, when you've got all that set up, there's tons of extra stuff: member areas, email campaigns, donation collection, brilliant if you're a charity or some such, social sharing, analytics, blogging tools. I mean, I kind of feel like that's it. You know, that's pretty standard for a blog. But anyway, look, Squarespace, loads of extra stuff, plus 24/7 customer support. So if you get stuck, which you won't because it's easy, they are there for you. Head to squarespace.com/Blaze to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain using code BLAZE. Language can be slightly modified to match tone. I think we did it, Squarespace. I think we did. Also, Surfshark. Thank you, Surfshark. What does Surfshark do? Well, I'll tell you what, safety and security online, pretty darn important. We've got personal information you'd rather keep personal? Yes. I can think of a few items, I don't know. Bank account details, browsing history.
There's so much porn!
Look, Surfshark is a VPN. There's a few good things about a VPN. My favorite thing is, it makes you more secure. So if you're out and about, fire up the VPN, keep yourself safe, blah, 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 blah. Security isn't interesting, Simon. Tell me about the fun stuff. Okay, streaming, baby. You fire up that Surfshark VPN, jump on over to another country. You'll find that there's tons of extra stuff. And don't you be thinking, Simon, 70% of you are Americans, statistically. You'd be like, we got the best Netflix library in the world, Simon, what are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you what, I was on Miami, Surfshark, which is my usual port of call, and I wanted to watch, what Tom Cruise movie was it? I feel like it was Mission Impossible. Wasn't available. I turn off my VPN, go back to Prague, where I live, and all of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies are available.
I thought this was America! Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America!
So I'm like, how does that work? So Americans, look, try that European Netflix, try that Asian Netflix. I've never even been there. That's next. Unlimited, which is great, so you could download in raw 8K. No one's doing that yet. Although 8K televisions are becoming a thing, which is crazy. Great support, 30-day money back if you don't like it. And of course, ultra secure and safe. Get 83% off and 3 months for free through the link in the description below or use my code BLAZE. Fantastic. And now, back to today's video. Crackers. There are 4 things you usually expect to get from a good Christmas cracker.
Crack cocaine.
A satisfying bang, an amazing little trinket, like maybe a tiny pair of scissors or a red plastic wiggling fish that can tell your fortune, a hilarious joke which will send everyone around the Christmas dinner into uncontrollable hysterics, and a crappy little paper hat which you can put on your head so that you can look like a twat like everybody else. One thing I used to do, which I thought was quite funny, before Christmas every year, I'd go and memorize an inappropriate joke, and then I'd read it out from the Christmas cracker as if it was in there. It was funny the first time, and then everyone was like, Whistle, we know. And they don't call me Whistle, they're like, Simon, we know that you just memorized it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still funny, right? And they're like, no, it's inappropriate. Your grandparents are here. You can't, it's, they're very, just don't. It's not appropriate. But what if that crappy little paper hat became not just the most valuable thing inside the cracker, but also one of the most valuable items inside your whole house? Runescape, launched by Jagex. Back in 2001 was one of the early pioneers of fantasy, massively multiplayer online role-playing games. And Jagex often liked to drop special seasonal items into the game during Easter, Halloween, and of course, Christmas. One such seasonal drop occurred in the game's inaugural year when Jagex dropped a selection of Christmas crackers into Runescape, prepares the players to pull in celebration of the birth of Santa Claus. Of course. Sadly, I don't think you got much in the way of a joke, but you did get a little bang, a little trinket such as a gold ring or a silver bar, and a crap paper party hat. Naturally, nearly all RuneScape players were mainly interested in discovering what kind of trinket they had won from the cracker. The party hat was just a completely useless item which you could wear on your head for a few minutes for a giggle before you grew bored and deleted it. But after most players deleted the party hat forever, it later became clear that it was never coming back.
What?
This meant that the crappy paper party hat swiftly developed into one of the most sought-after items in the whole medieval fantasy realm of Gielinor. Okay. Can you tell that I've never played RuneScape? By the year 2015, the party hat had become so valuable that its worth exceeded the amount of gold that you were allowed to trade with in the game. So in order to purchase one from another player, you had to bump up your end of the deal with other valuable items in your possession. Maybe like your real life money. The blue party hat was the rarest of all, and this could fetch the equivalent of $7,000 back in 2015. That's insane. This might seem like small change in comparison to an ethereal flames pink war dog, but it's worth pondering for a moment over the sheer uselessness of the blue party hat. You can begin to understand why some players might shell out big bucks for a power-up or something which helps them progress through the game, but the blue party hat served absolutely no purpose whatsoever in return for your $7,000. The developers had created a junk item which was purposefully designed to be something that you didn't really want to keep, and it ended up becoming the most prized possession of all. The problem is you spend $7,000 on that, and then every year Christmas rolls around and you're like, oh god, I hope they don't introduce more party hats. The only purpose it might conceivably serve today is that of a status symbol. It's kind of like a shit paper hat version of a personalized license plate in the world of Gielinor. Maybe that digital Christmas cracker did come packaged with a joke after all. It just took about 14 years to get to the punchline. Venice of the North. So much for silly pink dogs and party hats. How much is it likely to cost for an entire virtual city? Well, if that virtual city is a recreation of Amsterdam within the digital walls of Second Life, you're talking about $50,000. Good lord. Is Second Life still a thing? Is that still I remember that from back in the day, but like at least 10 years ago. And yes, you could probably buy a nice bit of real property within the real Dutch capital for that price. Danny, have you been to Amsterdam? It's really expensive. It's like, you went there and you're like, oh, it's only €4 for a beer. And then the beer comes and it's like this big, and you're like, what the f***, Amsterdam? I need at least 3 of these poured into a large glass. So I don't think they're selling property for $50,000. Or at least take a very nice extended holiday over there. For the $50,000, yes, you bloody well could. But the $50,000 purchase of the city that doesn't exist back in 2007 maybe wasn't quite as daft as it first sounds. I was actually a bit surprised here that Second Life was still going. Question answered. I can vaguely recall the initial excitement of this new experience when it first launched by Linden Labs in 2003. Good God, it's nearly 20 years old. And how it wasn't so much of a game, but more of a weird simulation of, well, a Second Life. Shocking. I can remember one of my mates getting really into it. He was chronically unemployed, but he was doing pretty well at holding down a mundane job in Second Life, to the point where he decided that he didn't really have the time to look for a proper job in his real life because he was scared of losing his virtual job. Did he actually get paid? Because I know people do make money doing these sort of online jobs in these games, right? I mean, it's like, I kind of do an online job, but it's also real world because I'm here. It's not like I'm doing YouTube in a game of YouTube and somehow making money. That would be a bit weird. It'd be like, why did I just do it in real life? Yeah, it's not like inaccessible, is it?
Is this real life?
Yeah, this is real life.
Developer Kevin Adaman, known within the simulation by his avatar Stroker Serpentine, went to great effort to faithfully reconstruct a virtual version of Amsterdam for Second Life, which players could visit and explore and, crucially, spend virtual money. He obviously didn't construct the whole city. It was just kind of a heavily condensed version featuring all of the important landmarks and signature themes and places of interest. So obviously, you've got glimpses of the canals, the boats, the trams, the architecture, and the historical buildings. But of course, most of this authentic recreation was largely ignored as all the players just wanted to hit the famous red light district and pay for cybersex. Holy shit. What is cybersex? I don't know what... Is that like phone sex? I genuinely don't know how that would work. It's not like there's some sort of device you go into, like in some, what's that? Red Dwarf situation where it's like, you've worn out the penis attachments in like 2 weeks, Lister. It had a lifetime warranty, Lister. Red Dwarf.
What?
When Kevin decided, I read that already. Sorry, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here.
When Kevin decided to sell his virtual city on eBay in 2007, it went to an initially mysterious bid of $50,000, although the bidder was much later revealed to be a division of the Netherlands media company Boom BV.
Baba booey.
And they obviously weren't just pissing about here. They consider the purchase to be a shrewd investment. Players can make trades within the game and using the in-game currency, the Linden dollar, which can then be exchanged for real money. So, purveyors of sexually explicit merchandise had an opportunity to rent store space in this virtual Amsterdam, while other entrepreneurial players could hang out on street corners and try and drum up a bit of cybersex custom, presumably with the new owners of Amsterdam taking a little cut of their business. Really? And Amsterdam wasn't a bad choice to pick if you're going to buy a city in Second Life, as it drew plenty of virtual footfall, partly because of the beautifully detailed design, and mostly because of the titillation on offer in the seedier corners of this cyber city. The only minor downside was the terrible lag due to the heavy rendering required to bring this city to virtual life. It's not clear how much money the new owners of Virtual Amsterdam made, or even if they got their investment back at all, but it is...
Nice.
But it perhaps wasn't such a fabulous investment in the long term, as the user base of Second Life has been gradually dwindling away in more recent years. Whereas the value of real property in Amsterdam will have risen sharply since 2007, it's likely the future value of this virtual version will become less than a virtual bowl of virtual tulips. Ah ha ha! Ba-da-bum-bums. Tomorrow Never Dies. Great Bond movie.
You're goddamn right.
One guy who definitely did make a shitload of money from virtual space is a certain John Jacobs, and he did so within the world of Entropia Universe. Entropia is a massively multiplayer virtual universe developed by the Swedish company Mindark in 2003. I don't think I've ever really played any of these massively multiplayer online games. I think I tried to play that Star Trek online game, and then I was like, what am I supposed to do? This seems really complicated. And it's like starting a whole other life. And you gotta do all this stuff, and I was like, I'm busy. And I felt like, World of Warcraft or whatever, that's one of them, right? I'd always be like, you see how people get really into it? And I'll be like, oh my god, I'm gonna get really into this. And then the rest of it's like, okay, bye-bye rest of life. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm really into World of Warcraft, play it 18 hours a day. So how do you do anything else? I don't. Fortunately, I didn't walk down that path, and now you have to put up with me. I mean, you don't. You can click off and watch something else, that's okay. Honestly, not blaming you.
Psych!
Just makes me cry inside, deep down, where my emotions are. Buried beneath the surface. Entropia, I read that already. And one of the cool things about Entropia is that it actively encourages users to make real money within the game, which actually has the Swedish government's license to operate as a real bank. Wow, that's kind of in depth. The in-game currency, known as Project Entropia dollars, or PEDs, and this is very easily exchanged to US dollars at a rate of 10-1. So you get 10 PEDs for $1 US. Okay. Players are invited to open up exclusive clubs or islands or hunting areas or whatever they like within reason and charge entrance fees or taxes to their visitors and guests. Every 10 PEDs taken from other players then sorry.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Players then invited to open up exclusive clubs or islands or hunting areas or whatever they like within reason and charge entrance fees or taxes to visitors and guests. Every 10 PEDs taken from other players within the game can get instantly transferred to a real dollar, or every 20,000 PEDs taken from other players can get instantly transferred to $2,000. One of the first huge notable sales of virtual space took place in 2009 when MindArc sold the Crystal Palace space station via an online auction. The winner was player known in the game as Buzz Eric Lightyear, who walked away with the keys to the space station at a cool cost of good lordy lord. $330,000 American dollars. But this probably wasn't a bad price, bearing in mind that Buzz can now charge taxes and fees to anyone who makes a transaction within this bustling fictional space station in the Calypso orbit. The problem is you're spending $330,000 on something, and then it's like, yeah, great, you can charge people to do there. But what happens if the game ends? What happens if they're like, yeah, we're not supporting it anymore? And you'd be like, can I get my money? No, you can't.
Well, we're fucked.
You can't. It's a lot. It's the price of a house, mate. And the really nice part is that he barely has to do anything at his end, as the Crystal Palace station practically runs itself. And then there's the Never Die Club. I'd love to know what the return on investment is. Like, how much is he making off that $330,000 investment? And then there's the Never Die Club. One MindArc announced in 2005 they were selling a then unnamed space resort, which was still very much under construction. The virtual title deeds ended up going to John Jacobs for $100,000. Is that the same guy as before? No. Did we mention this guy before somewhere? I don't know. Who cares?
Great job.
To John Jacobs for $100,000. Jacobs, better known in Entropia as Never Die. Wait, is this the guy? Oh, I'm so confused. I don't care. Do I care? I want to know, did I read this name somewhere before? It seems so familiar. Whatever.
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand.
Better known in Entropia as Never Die, but quite a bit on the line with his purchases. He reportedly had to remortgage his house in order to afford the asking price. What are you doing?
Don't do it! No!
And the idea of remortgaging physical bricks and mortar to purchase a club that doesn't exist might seem absurd to some, like this guy. But I understand it. Look, if you think you can make your money back or it's going to be a good investment, what does it matter? It's not like... I mean, essentially, like, it's not like we had a big pile of cash and then we're buying something else. It's like money is virtual, that's virtual. It's all ones and zeros. Even the real money that you have in the bank account is kind of just ones and zeros, isn't it? It's not like they've got some big pile of cash in there.
It gets bigger when I pull on it.
But Jacobs got busy on transforming his new club, which he eventually naturally named after his in-game avatar, into the most attractive entertainment venue in Entropia, packed out with stores and traders who were helping the Never Die Club to generate up to $200,000 a year in revenue. Well, that's an extraordinary return on investment, so I'll shut the up and be like, I'm impressed. And this is not an isolated case of planets, moons, clubs, and even banking licenses. What? Are regularly traded on Entropia for $6 figures. In 2010, Jacob split his Never Die empire up into two chunks and sold them to two separate buyers for a grand total of $635,000, making the Never Die Club the most expensive virtual object in the world at the time. Or rather, not in the world at the time. Into the Metaverse. If this sounds a bit crazy, then the future only looks even more mind-boggling as we take our first tentative steps into the Metaverse, which I'll be more excited about if Mark Zuckerberg wasn't so excited about it, because he just makes everything less appealing somehow. It's just like, oh, Facebook's involved, Mark Zuckerberg's involved. Do we have to? Can't it be from like a better company? Or like someone who's not as weird as Mark? You're always like, Mark doesn't seem like a real person. I saw an interview of him the other day about they were bringing, I do love that Oculus 2 though, that's fun. They're bringing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to Oculus 2. And so I YouTube searched it and I came across this interview with Mark Zuckerberg. And one of the top comments, and it was just the most stilted interview ever. Like they're both obviously reading off a script and they're both terrible actors. And it's just like, I looked down in the comments and one of the top comments is like, this is what it's like when you have two non-player characters interact in a video game. And I'm like, nailed it. As recently as November 2021, someone sold a virtual yacht for the equivalent of $650,000. You could buy a real yacht for this price! And I'm still struggling to get my hand around what exactly they plan to do with it. The Metaflower Mega Super Mega Yacht sounds pretty impressive from the description. It apparently includes 2 helipads, a DJ booth, and a hot tub. Yeah, you can't get a yacht with 2 helipads for $650,000. You can still get a good yacht though, you can get a plenty good yacht. I suppose the only slight downside to the deal is that the buyer could have bought a real yacht at this price instead of one that only exists in the metaverse.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
The yacht was designed by Republic Realm, who are currently busy creating luxury digital items for use within the Sandbox, a kind of upcoming 3D virtual gaming version of the internet fueled by blockchain technology. I'm so lost. It's like, is it the blockchain? The yacht was actually sold for the sum of 149 WETH, or Raptithelium, which currently has a equivalent value of $650,000. And in return, all the buyer actually received was an NFT, a non-fungible token, which proves their ownership of this make-believe yacht. At the time of writing, the Metaverse Mega Yacht is now the most expensive NFT sold within the Sandbox, but that still could all have changed by morning. Incidentally, critics have observed that the yacht actually looks a bit rubbish. But if you're feeling sad that you missed out on buying a yacht for yourself, I am not. Republic Realm, currently building virtual private islands and speedboats and jet skis, which might be more up your virtual street. Not mine. I don't know. I just like things that you get physical enjoyment from, like a yacht, standing on a yacht, going sailing. What else is there? Jet skis, riding on a jet ski, speedboat, being on a speedboat, private islands, I don't know, sun, sand, cocktail in hand, my island. They're things you physically enjoy. I feel like I need to have those in real life, not just in a virtual world. Otherwise, where's the enjoyment? Other than I bought something really expensive and I'm showing it off. I guess people buy these things also to show off, but you also get physical enjoyment from them, which is important, at least to me. More important, much more important. Also, jet skis, surprisingly expensive.
Wow, that is very interesting. Please tell me more.
And stuff like this is going on all the time as more and more high-profile figures and companies join the rush to snag up land in the metaverse. Snoop Dogg is currently developing his own exclusive property within the Sandbox, and just a couple of days ago he sold a small plot of digital land within his new Snoopverse for $450,000. My what the fuck? I want to start the Whistlerverse. Buy this, it's $450,000. Simon, it looks a bit I know, but look, there's money to be made. Just buy it. You'll be like, okay. Do I get an NFT? Yeah, sure you do. Whatever. I don't know what that is, but yeah, here you go. Someone will figure it out. Whistlerverse coming soon.
You're joking. Not another one?
Over on the virtual world, Axie Infinity, plots of digital land was recently sold for $2.3 million. I'm going to work on the Whistlerverse right now. Not really, Factboy, get back to it. It feels kind of similar to the domain name Land Rush of the late 1990s. Everyone keen to buy their own stake in the new metaverse before it really hits the mainstream, even if we're not quite sure yet how exactly it's going to pan out or what that's going to look like. I mean, but those domain name people, they made a lot of money from that, right? I mean, those domains, like, you want to buy business.com or something, that's going to be a lot of money. A lot of money. And we're probably not too far away from a time in which property within the metaverse will become significantly more expensive than property in the real world. No. But maybe. There's surely bound to be a few bumps along the way. Not every digital sale of virtual goods runs as smoothly as what you might hope. Let's go back to the guy who bought the Ethereal Flames Pink War Dog on the Dota 2 online battle arena. Oh, we're going all the way back. The War Dog was meant to be a rare breed because it was just one of 5 in existence with distinctive colors and effects. Oh, they made more of them, didn't they? They were just like, let's release some more. That's the problem with this stuff. Unless you got one of those NFT things. I don't know. It's all. I mean, something's going to go wrong here. But just one day after the purchase, Valve Software announced a new update which completely overhauled the whole color and cosmetic system and suddenly made it possible for all players to easily get their hands on a very similar pink War Dog with an ethereal effect. Apparently this particular pink dog sold at auction is still slightly different shade of pink to the others, so it's still in theory rare and desirable for any collectors who are obsessive about shades of pink. But whereas the item was once considered a holy grail in Dota 2, it's now just a dog that's a very slightly different shade of pink, and it's unlikely to fetch anything close to the $38,000 that the buyer paid on that subreddit auction. Some players have alleged that the original seller may have even been aware of the forthcoming update from Valve, which is why he decided to get rid of it. Yeah, possibly, and yeah, I mean, good for that guy, bad for the guy who bought it, slightly unethical, but also you'd be like, oh, I need to shift this, don't I? It'd be like if you found they're building a motorway through your garden. It's like, should sell my house, shouldn't I, before other people find out about that motorway? That sounds illegal though, don't do that. Not legal advice. But this does serve as a stark reminder that when you buy things that don't physically exist, you're kind of at the mercy of the company pulling the strings in this fictional dimension. If you bought a dog or a hat or a nightclub or a yacht or a house in the real world, your government is unlikely to announce a sudden law change with regard to how the physical universe deals with possessions. Danny, let me tell you something about the Russian Revolution. Then again, some business owners might argue that governments are moving the goalposts all the time, so maybe spending money in the virtual world isn't so completely different from the real world after all. I'll see you in the metaverse. I'll be the guy proudly cruising around the virtual boating lake in my virtual swan-shaped pedalo that cost me every last penny of my once very real life savings. Oh no, Danny, don't do it! This has been an episode of Brain Blaze. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that like button. Subscribe, and I will see you next time. Strollers are a f***ing rip-off. Oh my god.
首都映像で確認。最大望遠です。